All right, future civil servants ready to tackle a topic that's not just for your UPSC mains exams, especially that social issues section, but also crucial for understanding, well, the India of tomorrow. Yeah, the mental well-being of adolescents in, our increasingly digital world. We're diving deep today into a study from Sapien Labs called The Youth Mind, Rising Aggression and Anger. It's making quite a stir because it examines the impact of, early smartphone use on young minds, comparing trends in India and the U.S. And trust me, the findings are pretty eye-opening to say the least. Buckle up because we're about to unpack some serious insights that could even help you frame those, stellar essays and interview responses. The study's main finding is pretty stark. Early smartphone use is linked to a decline in mental well-being among adolescents. And we're not just talking about, everyday mood swings here. The research points to some serious symptoms like heightened aggression, anger, irritability, and even get this hallucinations. The study uses terms like intrusive thoughts and detachment from reality, painting a rather concerning picture, wouldn't you say?
Yes, the study's findings are certainly concerning. What's particularly interesting is that it goes beyond simply measuring emotions. It introduces the concept of the Mind Health Quotient, or MHQ, which assesses a whopping 47 aspects of mental function.
MHQ. Okay, that's a new one for me. What exactly is that, and how does it differ from, say, IQ or EQ?
Think of MHQ as a holistic measure of mental well-being going beyond just how you feel. It evaluates your ability to function effectively across 6 key dimensions: emotional, social, cognitive self-perception, pro-social, and adaptability. So instead of simply asking, are you happy, it delves into questions like, can you focus? Can you form healthy relationships? Can you adapt to change? These are all crucial aspects of a thriving mind, especially for someone aiming to serve the nation with the efficiency and resilience of a future IAS officer.
So MHQ is kind of like a measure of mental fitness. Then I can definitely see how that would be essential for handling the pressure cooker that is the UPSC exam and, life in general. But getting back to the Sapien Lab study, one thing that really stood out to me was the difference in trends between India and the U.S. The decline in mental well-being linked to early smartphone use is slower in India, but there's a noticeable gender gap. What factors do you think might be contributing to this difference, especially when it comes to the gender aspect?
That's a great question, and it's one that researchers are actively exploring. It's likely a complex interplay of cultural, societal, and even technological factors. For instance, India has a more collectivist culture than the US, with stronger emphasis on family ties and community support. This could provide a buffer against the negative impacts of early smartphone use. Then there's the influence of societal expectations and gender norms. Girls in India, for example, might face greater pressure to conform to certain behaviors, leading to internalized stress and anxiety that wouldn't necessarily be reflected in the more outward expressions of anger or aggression that the study highlights.
That's a really insightful point. And it makes me think about how important it is to consider these cultural nuances when crafting policies to address mental health challenges in India. There's no one-size-fits-all solution, right?
Exactly. Recognizing these cultural and societal nuances is key to framing effective interventions. It's not just about tackling the symptoms, but understanding the underlying factors that contribute to them, especially within the unique Indian context. Remember, this nuanced understanding is exactly what the UPSC examiners are looking for, the ability to analyze social issues with depth and sensitivity. And let's not forget about, the digital divide. Access to technology and digital literacy varies significantly across India, especially between urban and rural areas. This can further influence how young people experience the digital world and, its impact on their mental well-being. It's something to keep in mind when analyzing those government reports and policies in your GS-ELEC preparation.
That's a crucial link to the Digital India Initiative, isn't it? Bridging this digital divide and ensuring equitable access to technology and digital literacy are key goals for India's future. It's not just about, providing smartphones, but also equipping individuals with the knowledge and skills to navigate the digital world safely and responsibly.
Absolutely. And speaking of navigating the digital world, let's not overlook the positive impacts of digital access. It opens up a world of opportunities, particularly for education and skill development.
Right. I mean, just look at the initiatives highlighted in the source material. Diksha PM Avidya Swayam. These are game changers, providing access to quality education for millions, especially in remote areas where traditional educational resources might be limited. These aren't just names to memorize for your prelims, folks. Understanding their impact, challenges, and potential is crucial for grasping the evolving landscape of education in India.
Precisely. However, it's crucial to acknowledge the flip side. While these platforms hold immense potential, the digital world also presents risks, especially for young minds. Cyberbullying, privacy violations, exposure to harmful content, and the constant pressure of fear of missing out. These are serious concerns.
It's like a digital minefield out there. The statistics are pretty alarming. The source material mentions that over a third of young people globally report being cyberbullied, and a staggering 80% of children feel at risk of online sexual abuse or exploitation. These are not just numbers, they represent real lives and potential futures at stake.
And in India, where internet penetration is rapidly increasing, but awareness about online safety is still lagging, these risks are amplified. The source material highlights that India reported a significant number of cases of child sexual abuse material online. It's a stark reminder of the dark underbelly of the digital world and the urgent need for robust online child safety measures.
Absolutely. So how do we navigate this complex digital landscape? The Sapien Labs study proposes a few solutions: educational technology to promote responsible use, restricting access for younger children, and implementing parental controls. But how effective are these measures in reality? And what other steps can we take to ensure a healthy and safe digital environment for our youth?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? It's a multifaceted challenge that requires a multi-pronged approach. Beyond the measures you mentioned, there are several other initiatives in India worth noting. For instance, the Protection of Children from Sexual Offenses Act, POSCO, enacted in 2012, includes provisions specifically addressing online offenses. Then there's Childline 1098, a 247 helpline for children in need of care and protection, which can also be accessed for reporting online abuse.
Those are definitely crucial resources. And I'm guessing the government is also working on bolstering law enforcement to combat cybercrime, especially crimes against children, right?
You bet. There are specialized units like the Cybercrime Prevention Against Women and Children, CCPWC, funded by the Nirpaya Fund, working to prevent and investigate online crimes. Additionally, various digital literacy programs are being implemented across the country to educate children, parents, and educators about online safety. So there's definitely progress being made, but the fight is far from over.
It's encouraging to see these concrete steps being taken, but it's clear there's a long road ahead. And this brings us to the study's rather bold suggestion, delaying smartphone ownership until at least the 8th grade. It's a pretty radical idea, isn't it?
It certainly challenges the current trend of ever earlier access to smartphones, but it also forces us to pause and consider the potential consequences of this trend. Could delaying smartphone ownership actually be a game changer in protecting young minds? It's a question worth pondering, especially for future policymakers.
It makes you rethink our priorities as a society, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Are we sacrificing long-term well-being for short-term convenience or entertainment? It's almost as if this study is throwing down a gauntlet, challenging us to consciously shape the digital future we want for our children.
Precisely. It raises crucial questions about the role of technology in child development, the responsibilities of parents and educators, and the potential for government intervention. It's a complex debate, and there are no easy answers. But one thing is clear: we can't afford to be passive bystanders. We need to engage in these conversations, consider the evidence, and make informed choices that prioritize the well-being of our youth.
Yeah, it really does make you think about the kind of world we're shaping for them, right? And legacy we're leaving for future generations. If you were in position to influence policy, what steps would you take to ensure a healthy digital future for adolescents in India? It's a question worth reflecting on, especially for those of you aspiring to lead and serve the nation.
That's the crucial question, isn't it? And as you rightly pointed out, it's not about demonizing technology or implementing blanket bans. It's about finding that balance, harnessing the incredible power of technology for good while mitigating the potential risks. We need a multi-pronged approach. Think promoting digital literacy, strengthening online safety measures, ensuring accessible mental health support, and fostering open communication between parents, children, and educators. Perhaps most importantly, we need to cultivate a critical and mindful approach to technology, both in our personal lives and in the policies we shape.
Yeah, it's about finding that sweet spot where we can embrace the benefits of the digital age without compromising the well-being of our youth. And I think that's a great takeaway for our listeners today. We've covered a lot of ground, from the concerning findings of the Sapien Labs study to the various initiatives and solutions being implemented in India. Remember, this is just the tip of the iceberg. For those of you preparing for the UPSC, delve deeper into these issues, explore government initiatives, and think critically about potential solutions. Your understanding of these topics could be the difference between a good answer and a great one come exam time. And a big thank you to TH for bringing these crucial issues to light. Their work is invaluable in fostering informed discussions and driving positive change. Don't forget to check out their website for more in-depth analysis and resources. That wraps up our deep dive for today. If you found this episode insightful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share it with your fellow UPSC aspirants. Until next time, keep learning, Keep questioning and keep striving for a brighter future for India and its youth.